let's talk about Micron. Um, Micron's also been killing it this week. It seems like it's mainly due to a new analyst rating from UBS. Let me pull it up here.
Well, over the weekend, before the analyst rating increased from, I think $500 a share to $1,600, like, look at this analyst go.
Oh, there's another one. I didn't even see this one come in.
The 675 to 1200, almost 1200. But
Yeah.
the UBS analyst raised it from 535 to over 1600 yesterday. But over the weekend, we also had a speech by the president who also touted Micron. And that was just like came out of nowhere and kind of a surprise. And a lot of people speculated that, well, wait a second, if he owns Micron and he's touting it, this might be a company that might get pumped. And then we saw the 1625 analyst upgrade from 525. I mean, why
Well, he
was
was
your
also
price target 525 before?
he
Is
he was
the question.
he was also touting the factory that they're building in New York, which makes sense, being
The president was, yeah.
wanting American jobs here.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like touting the company to randomly tout the company.
But I think
And
it did come out that he owns some shares in it, if I'm not mistaken.
oh,
But
does he?
because like he owns a bunch of tech companies now, and I think Micron is one of them.
Yeah. So going back to this UBS analyst, I believe the last time he changed his target, it was like maybe 510 before or something around there, and then he upgraded to 535, and now there's had this huge jump, huge revelation of $1,600 dollars a share. So what are your thoughts on the price target itself and the market's reaction?
Well, I think the price target is finally something that seems reasonable to me, right? A $1,600 price target seems reasonable. That does not seem out of line. The fact that he went from 525 to 1600 is where like I lose a lot of respect for the person, but um, for the analyst. But let's just look at Micron for just stepping back and saying, okay, like is Micron again having crossed $900 a share, over $1 trillion market cap? Is it an overvalued company? And here's the way I would answer that question: is how many companies do I know that are expected to have over $100 billion of profits in the next 12 months that are trading at less than $1 trillion? Do I know of any? And the answer is no. I know of zero companies. In fact, the cheapest one of all the companies that I know that is going to make over $100 billion of profits is Micron. So, Micron is trading at a PE that's similar to the PEs of retailers, right? Like the gaps, or like the retailers that are traditionally like very low revenue growth, and not tech. And tech generally gets a much more lucrative price earnings ratio or price sales ratio, and generally they're growing faster. So, and of course, Micron is getting this lower number because of the criticism that memory is cyclical and it's a commodity and anybody could make it. But it turns out that the cyclical factor, even if true, nobody knows when the cycle will end. And when it ends, that might be that the music stops for a lot of different companies, not just the memory makers. It might stop for AMD and Intel and Nvidia and Broadcom and so many others. So the cyclical argument doesn't hold water for me. And then the commodity factor, the fact that only 3 companies make it. In order to make the memory chips, you actually need $100 billion investments into factories that take many years to sort of bring online, and these clean rooms. So, this is not something that is easily going to be disrupted by some new entrants that we don't know about, right? So I continue to love Micron. I haven't sold any shares. I probably will start trimming soon if it crosses the $1,000 mark. But I fully expect to maintain the vast majority of the shares that I own. The only reason I would trim is just to, again, de-risk, because it's already more than 30% of my portfolio. So, yeah.
Has has there been a stock recently that's been over 30% of your portfolio?
The one that hit over 30% a while back was Robinhood, as it was
Okay.
climbing to, over, as it was like going from $7 to over
Right. It was
100.
like, yeah, I think
Yeah.
what it topped at like 150, maybe around
hmm
there.
Yeah. And I continued to trim as it was going up to that price
Yeah.
point. For me, Micron is undervalued even at $1,000 a share. But one of the things that will happen once, or is already happening, is that it is a very large percentage of my portfolio. So it's just a very high risk thing, right? Like once it becomes a massive portion of the portfolio, any kind of movement means the portfolio gets goes up and down by this whale, essentially, that's in my portfolio. So um, despite that, I have been holding on to 100% of my shares. I haven't sold any. I do expect to trim over $1,000 a share. I don't know exactly when. Um, and if it doesn't hit $1,000 a share before its quarterly report, then I will probably just wait it out until after the quarterly report, unless things change. The things could change for a variety of reasons. Additional information, macro level, the stock market in general might be suppressed, or like all kinds of things might affect my decision. And of course, like I'm going to do whatever I decide to do. It's not like I'm 100% committed to anything that any sort of like target that I'm voicing here. But I don't expect to sell any shares under $1,000 a share. So that would be my perspective on it, and I'll let Dustin speak to it as well.
Yeah. So taking a step back, irrelevant to Micron, if I'm going to take profit in a position I own, I think about three different pieces. The first is has there been enough return for me to want to take profit? In Micron's case, the answer is a big yes, right? Um, the next piece is the allocation in my portfolio, the percent allocation, completely out of whack or not? So right now, Micron, I think is like 4% of my portfolio. Let me say,
So that's not
4.7%.
out of whack.
Not,
Yeah.
no, not at all. This could triple or quadruple, and it would still be fine. So that's a no. And then the third piece, unfortunately, but it's a reality, is I have to worry about taxes, and is this sale going to be long-term or short-term capital gains? Do I have losses that are going to offset this? Um, and at the moment, this would be a long-term capital or short-term capital gains for me. So that would also be an X. So when I think of those three pieces, ideally two of them are a yes at a minimum. It would be
Or
great
all
if
three
three of
of
them are
them.
yes. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So at the moment, even if Micron keeps going up, I'm probably not going to be selling here because there's not enough reason for my specific circumstance to be
Yeah.
selling.
Actually, those are, first of all, that's a fantastic way to look at it. I love the way that you broke it down into the three different things. And for me, the tax thing is also a major consideration as well, because that makes a big difference. But in Micron in particular, even though it's short term, I own a significant portion of my Micron shares in my IRA. So selling them in my IRA in particular would not have a tax consequence. So
Totally.
that would be a no tax consequence, and therefore that goes out of the picture. But you're right. If I was holding them all in non-retirement accounts, then there would be short term, and I would probably want to hold it longer because of that. So past the one year mark, for which for me will be December 29th. Yeah, but
Right.
it for me it checks the other two. It has almost tripled my average purchase price, and then it is a pretty wacky percentage of my
Yeah, it's
portfolio at
over 30%.
31%. Yeah.
Yeah.